So one simple technique that you can start using right now and really feel a difference if you're lifting or carrying, if you're holding your baby, or if you're just being active, or even if you're sneezing or coughing, is lengthening. So this is a very easy way to activate your core and pelvic floor in a natural way, not a Kegel where you're thinking contract and lift and all these things, but really get that core and musculature to light up automatically, which is what we're looking for. So what I want you to do, this is easier in the beginning to learn against a wall. So what I want you to do is come against a wall, and ideally you would have maybe like 2 or 3 fingers distance between your heels and the wall. If you have a lot of molding again on the bottom of your wall, then obviously go a little bit closer. But I would say start off with 2 to 3 fingers between you and the wall. This obviously depends on how big your bump is and all these things. So what I want you to do is thinking about into the wall. I want you to think that your sacrum, so here you have a bone structure that's kind of shaped like a triangle. So I want you to think that the sacrum is actually flush against the wall. And the next thing that's going to be flush against the wall is going to be the back of your head. So just do as good as you can. It's probably going to feel like you have to tuck a little bit. So just a little bit, kind of pulling your butt under you a little. I don't want to see this, but if you have a tendency to be here, it might feel like you have to go underneath a little bit. Soften your knees. So I don't want straight locked knees ever. Soften your knees, get your sacrum into the wall. So here, what I don't want you leaning against the wall. Your weight should be completely in your feet, and the wall is just there to give you feedback about how to stack your body appropriately. So if your feet are far out here and you're leaning into the wall, that's not working. So it should neither feel like you're falling forward or leaning back. Your weight should be evenly distributed on your feet. Good. If you're unsure about the triangle in the back, what you can do is feel on the front. So think about your hip bones here and your pubic bone, the bone down here. They make a triangle. And that triangle should point straight down. It should not point forwards, and it should not point backwards. It should point straight down towards the floor. Almost like that plane is completely flat. And remember, there's a little bit of flesh on top of the bone. So really feel for the bone and not the flesh on top of it. All right, so that's flush against the wall, and your back, the back of your head is flush against the wall. Now, what I want you to think, see if you can feel that you can push your feet down into the ground, so grounding your toes and your heels ideally, and then also thinking that the back of your head is pushing into the wall and growing up along the wall. So really trying to push it upwards. Some people like to imagine, I don't know, I'm really short, so this is maybe not a very relatable problem, but when you were going like on a carnival ride or something, and you had to be like this tall to get on, and then you were like trying to push your head up, so you're like trying to be a little bit taller than you were, that kind of growing feeling. So, but your feet are grounded, so you're not on your tippy toes and you're not hunching your shoulders. It's really coming from that inner lengthening. You can also put a hand on top of your head and think about pushing it upwards, see if that helps. But keep in contact with the back of your head, pushing it backwards and upwards and pushing your feet down. I want your feet, the weight evenly distributed. And what's going to happen here when you're lengthening upwards and downwards is you're probably going to feel a little bit of an activation. It's not going to feel like a super strong Kegel, or, when you're really working out at the gym and doing really good abs, which is probably not the case if you're watching this video. But it's going to feel like it's kind of tightening a little bit. And that is your entire inner core musculature and pelvic floor turning on and lighting up, not because you're thinking contract, pull, lift, whatever it is, navel to spine, whatever it is you've been instructed to do to strengthen your pelvic floor. It's because you're using posture. And then you can translate to doing this without the wall, obviously. But with the wall, you have a lot more support, so it's a lot easier to feel where you're supposed to be stacking your body. But try to do this without the wall as well. So feet, hips, distance apart, soft knees, neutral pelvis. The triangle is pointing straight down. And think about pushing your head up, or putting a hand on top of your head and pushing it upwards. And see if you can feel that little activation, that little lift here. I'm going to show you like extremely what it would look like. Obviously, it doesn't always look like this, but what you might be able to see here is if you can go from neutral, so no activation, no pushing upwards at all. When you push up, you can see your entire belly draw in, and that's your core musculature coming on to support you in whatever you're doing. So what you could do is just the next time you have to carry or stand a little bit and hold your baby or carry grocery bags, or even if you're feeling a sneeze coming on or a cough, you could try this lengthening, because what happens is when the core and the pelvic floor are turned on, then this added pressure doesn't actually cause you any symptoms, because that automatic function is responding the way it's supposed to. So your core is then able to stop the pressure from creating pressure in your pelvic floor or leaks or pain in your lower back or pelvis or adding to your diastasis. Right. So try this out. I can't wait to see how you get on.